Hey guys, Petra Williams here, the host and founder of the Fiery Petra Williams Show and your wonderful quantum spiritual life coach. As you know, the podcast is on a mission to give you the knowledge to make better choices to help you live a life that makes you feel alive. And today I really want to talk to you about the psychology of commitment. I bring this up because when I mentor entrepreneurs on their spiritual journey, I find they don't expect to commit to spirituality. They expect it to be like relationships. Like lots of people don't work at their relationships because they expect them just to happen, because we were brought up with fairy tales that went, once you're married, you live happily ever after, and that's not the case. You have to invest in your relationships just like you have to invest in your business, like you have to invest in your health and your finances. Spirituality is the same. So spirituality involves coming back within, building a relationship with yourself, with your core. It's doing the work from the inside out, and that takes some serious commitment. But what I also, my intention with everything I do is to educate you on different aspects so you can understand it. And when you're not committing, to understand why you're not committing, and then to look back at the knowledge that you have, and then you can make different choices. The more useful resources you have, the more meaning you can attach, positive meaning you can attach to something, the better you can make a choice and create a life that makes you feel alive, right? So today I'm going to talk to you about the psychology of commitment. It is based from a book by, I've got some notes today, guys, you must be proud, Steven Pressfield. And his book is called Put Your Ass Where Your Soul Wants to Be. Put your ass where your soul wants to be. So I love that. So it is such a great title, so true to my personality, actually. And he's like, put your body where your soul wants to be. Follow your calling. That's what it's all about, yeah? So he talks about 3 stages of commitment, and I want to share those with you today so that when you engage on your spiritual journey, you can really commit. Because so many people come and they go, I did that meditation you gave me, twice a week, and not finding it very successful. And I'm like, guys, it's twice a day, not twice a week. So let's first look at what commitment is, right? Now, commitment is a statement of what is. So, for example, you have the life you have because you committed to it. If you were committed to a different life, you'd be creating a different life, but you are committed to the life you have. So your results show you your commitment, right? And it is so simple. Like, you just have to take a step back and say, well, what are the results that I'm getting, right? What are my relationships like? What is my health like? What are my finances like? What's my business like, right? What's my spiritual compass like, right? Really looking into that and going, tell me then, what am I committed to? What am I prioritizing? Because there's no lying here, right? Your life is a direct reflection of that. And I encourage you not to judge that. This is not a judgment piece. But the whole thing is you have to know what you're currently committing to, so you know what to transform and you know what to change. And so the thing is, to transform your life, you have to transform yourself. It really is like that. The change starts here and then again is reflected out. Okay, so let's look at this. And I love using health as an example because it's easy to understand, right? So you have committed time to your business, right? You are working 15 hours a day, 7 days a week. you are not eating right, you're overweight, you're stressed, you lack energy, you just don't feel physically good, right? You're not resting well, you're not sleeping well. And so you're just pushing the body, and the body's saying no, and it's putting on the brakes, but you choosing to push through that with sugar, right? And so you're overweight, right? You're just fat and overweight. That's the reality. All progress starts by telling the truth. Now, there's no point in saying, oh, the business needs me, and, it couldn't function without me, and this is why I'm unhealthy. No, you're unhealthy because you've chosen not to prioritize your health. It's as simple as that. It's just a choice, right? And so you always find time for what you prioritize. So many business owners go, I don't have time to meditate. I don't have time to do breath work. I don't have time to journal. I don't have time. You always have time for what you prioritize, right? If you can get up in the morning and you have time to scroll your emails or the news or whatever you do on your phone, you have time to meditate, right? You prioritize what's important to you. So that's really important to know. So the second thing, so that's really what I just want to reiterate. So commitment are your results and or what you're currently getting. So in order for you to get a different commitment and different results, you have to change who you are. You have to change your identity. You have to change your thoughts, your beliefs, your words, your actions, your triggers, your energy. You have to change this person, the personality, which Joe Dispenza talks about. Your personality creates your personal reality. To change your personal reality, you have to change your personality, and that's where the work comes in. So it's internal. Now, according to the book, commitment takes risk. And what it means by that is you have to expose yourself. So what it means is you have to own your shit. You have to say, I am unhealthy because I've chosen to spend more time at work eating poor food than prioritizing the gym, prioritizing eating well, prioritizing sleep. I don't know how to change, so I am going to get some help to do so. So you really can feel exposed and feel vulnerable, but that's just the risk you're willing to take when you are committed to something. And when you are truly committed to something, if you're truly committed to your spiritual path and your inner journey, then people's opinions no longer matter. You just, if someone laughs and says, oh yeah, fat chance you go stick to that because you know how many times you tried to lose weight and never succeeded, you're like, I'm fucking committed. Your opinion is not welcome. I know where I'm going. I know what I'm doing. And you just focus. And you focus on what needs to be done. And what the amazing thing is when you set an intention and you focus on that, the rest of it will filter out because now you're filtering for good health, right? But it is a time of exposure. It is a time of opening up and saying, I don't know. I don't know how, I don't know why, but I'm willing to learn, yeah? So that's really, commitment involves risk. Often, mostly, psychological and social risk. It is not actually a physical risk. I mean, so rare is it ever a physical risk, but it's often the psycho. I mean, we live such protected lives. Like most of us in the Western world, live in good economies. So, we don't actually, there is really no danger for us. Really there isn't. I grew up in South Africa, man, I know what danger is, right? There really isn't. So when we think about risk, it's always it's mostly psychological and emotional and social risk. So I think it's just really important to remember that that's actually not real. It's internal, right? It's literally internal, right? What people think of you is internal, because very few people ever tell you what they think of you. It's what you think they think of you, right? So it's all internal. And once you understand that, the risk then, reduces, right? So that's really important to understand too, right? On the flip side of that, commitment is power. When you eventually say, this is what I'm doing and I'm giving it my all, you are taking back your power. I love Dr. Joe Dispenza's work on this. He talks about how when we focus on everything external, we're constantly giving our energy away. And if you can think of your energy like checks, well, no one uses checks anymore, but imagine like banknotes, let's just say cash, okay? If you can think of your energy like cash, $100 bills, right? And you're driving to work and someone cuts you off and you're angry at that and you respond to that and you react to that and you trigger for that, that's $100, right? Then, you don't get the coffee the way you wanted, you're angry about that, that's another $100. The girl you like, the woman you like smiled at you and you have a response, that's another $100, right? It doesn't always have to be negative, right? And the whole time you're just giving away those $100, right? And eventually you only have a pool, you only have a pool of energy, right? Like a finite pool of energy every day. Say, for example, your finite pool is $2,000, say 2,000, right? Let's be generous, right? But man, the whole time you're reacting to people and you're just chucking away those $100 bills, you just chuck, throwing them away. And eventually you have nothing left. You have zero in your bank account. And that's when you have burnout. That's when you have stress. That's when you feel unfulfilled and empty, right? But when you commit to something, you take all that energy that you put on the external factors and you bring that back within. And wow, the energy, the focus, the direction that comes from that commitment is incredible. So we call it the hero's journey. The podcast is actually based on one of Joseph Campbell's quotes that he wrote in his book, The Power of Myth. And Joseph Campbell also wrote The Hero's Journey. And he talks about the hero that gets catapulted out of their normal environment into a chaotic environment. They have to navigate that environment by becoming a different person, changing the beliefs, their thoughts, their behaviors. And then once they navigate through the new environment, they come out on the other side as a different person. And that's really what the power is in. You realize that everything you need is within you. And what that really means, guys, I think there's such confusion in that, is, when you really come to a spiritual place where you really you embody the knowledge that everything is within you, that the world is literally the way you perceive it, and that no matter what happens externally, you can choose how to interpret that. That is your ultimate superpower. And you can definitely get there through the spiritual practices that I suggest and that many other wonderful teachers suggest too, right? And another great thing is when you commit, and this is number 3, and this is all quantum, this is the quantum physics side and the metaphysics side, is that everything's energy, everything vibrates at a frequency, and you attract what you vibrate at the same frequency, right? So it is just the way it is, okay? And so when you vibrate at a certain frequency, so the thing about this is you have to know that you manifest who you are, not what you want. So who you are, who you're being, is a frequency, a vibration. Either that you're kind and loving and grateful and appreciative and open-hearted and understanding and compassionate. If that's who you're being, that is a very high frequency. Those emotions, those attributes are very high frequency. On the flip side, though, if you're sitting in fear and in stress and in worry and in concern, then those are very low frequency vibrations. And Abraham Hicks has this wonderful emotional scale that you can look at. And then you will attract circumstances that bring you more of that. So when you commit to an impossible goal in a short time frame, then everything you do filters and focuses. You stop doing the stuff that will keep you away from what you want to do. You start aligning with the things that will get you there. Your energy changes, your frequency changes. Now you've focused on this beautiful, juicy, impossible goal, and the universe just goes, man, you're vibrating at the energy of success. You're vibrating at the energy of love. You're vibrating at the energy of vitality. Here we go, my friend. Have some circumstances and events and people that will fuel them energy, right? Because like attracts like. So you move from being a passive victim to being an engaged creator of your life, and you co-create with the universe. It is so exciting. That is my favorite part, actually. And that's when your serendipities, synchronicities show up, and it's all serendipitous. And I love those moments when it's like, that's interesting. And so all of this stuff around commitment, you must understand that it's all internal, right? It's all the commitment comes from within. Dr. Benjamin Hardy studied entrepreneurship and what makes the difference between entrepreneurs and want to be entrepreneurs. And he talks about the point of no return. When you commit, you say to yourself, this is the point of no return. This is the line in the sand. I will no longer be the person I was. I am now focusing everything on where I'm going. And so when you choose to live a spiritual life, to live consciously, to come back within and do the inner work, where you commit that to no longer let the external environment define who you are, that's when the magic starts happening. When you commit to doing the practices, when you commit to the meditations and the breath work and the mindset work and the emotional work, when you commit to that, when there's a point of no return that you will no longer tolerate and yourself not committing to following through, that's when it all happens. That's when the universe moves everything in your favor, and that's when you really see the results, right? And failure, in inverted commas, is not even a thing. It's like, wow, that's a great learning opportunity. Let me learn what I need to learn and let me move on, and let me just keep learning and growing. It's having an open mindset. And I love that. I just love this all so much. I just love this stuff. It is so wonderful. Like I always say, the greatest gift you can give yourself in the world is to do the inner work and be joyful. And I was just saying this too. I was out. I had played pickleball. We were out for dinner, and I said to the young people around me, I said, you're at the start of your life, your early 20s, you're just new to your relationships and your marriages. I said, make being joyful your primary priority. I said, because when you're joyful, everything works. And so choose to live with unconditional openness. Choose to notice when you're triggered. Commit to doing the internal work, and I promise you that life will be exuberant and fun and fulfilling. And they all looked at me as if to say, yeah, but give me the $1 million first. Fair call. Again, If people don't ask for it, don't give it, right? So that's really the 3 stages of commitment. And let me quickly run through those again. So the first thing is commitment involves risk, okay? It involves exposure. The second one is commitment is power. You're taking back your power from everything external and bringing it back internal, and that's where the creative juices are. And commitment aligns you with the energies of the universe and brings you all those juicy, delicious experiences that you want to experience, right? So please, guys, my recommendation to you is to decide. A commitment involves decision. Decision by Latin means to divide. And what a decision is like this point and no further, right? We have to cut something off. So if you really want to live a fulfilled and loving and joyful life all the time, I'm not just talking about fleeting, oh, I got that promotion, awesome, or, he sent me a text, wonderful, or I'm looking quite spunky today, you're like, awesome. If you wake up and you recognize that no matter what happens externally, you are okay internally, and you can feel source supporting you, and you can feel that all the time, commit to the spiritual work. Of course, you're most welcome to work with me, and I'm on my quantum spiritual framework that I've got, which is awesome. If I do say so myself. Or there's, the podcast interviews many incredible teachers. Please look at them, listen to their wisdom, and then work with any of them. They're all phenomenal. I vet my guests pretty well, and go work with them. But the first step is deciding what you want, why you want it, and then committing to that. All right, guys. Big hugs and sloppy kisses. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Ciao.